can drive there from her.
Okay.
Okay, just 1 second. How is that going? Can you see it?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. It's lovely to see you, and it's lovely to be invited to present to you. So today I'm going to be talking about color and fashion trends for spring, summer 2021. And what I've done is I've looked at the major trends that came out, and I've also gone in here and taken some of the things from the new Rowan collection and added them in. So I'll point those out as we go along. Now, just so you understand this, these trends happen simultaneously. So to Rowan putting their collection together. So they're working on it at the same time that fashion designers are working on theirs. And then I just sort of basically report on what actually came down the runway. And then Rowan puts their collection out. So it's interesting to see which themes are common to both collections. So before we get going into too much, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about trends that are happening in our society. And I'm telling you about these just because they affect the trends that happen in our fashion world as well. So the first big trend right now in home is Japandi, and that's a mix of Japanese and Scandinavian. So that's the latest home style. That's sort of replacing hygge. Mental fitness is a trend. A lot of people are using apps to, keep their mind active and hopefully young. Climatarianism is a new trend in moving us towards plant-based foods. So that's like the veggie burger phenomena. It's not really called a veggie burger anymore, but it's that kind of thing. The car has become very important because of the pandemic. So there's things like car caves. So a car cave is decking out your car with, pillows and blankets and making it all very, comfy, and it's where you escape to. And it's where a lot of people are doing their therapy, and they're just sort of getting away. So the car is definitely important. We've got a lot of people from the cities moving to the suburbs and exurbia. We were just talking about that a few minutes ago. I live in New York City, and that's definitely a thing here. The 70s shag haircut is back. Think Carol Brady. So something you might want to consider. Embracing nature, and that's come about, because of the pandemic also. People are just dying to get out into nature, and it's safe to be out in nature and be alone or be with your bubble people. Okay, so they're the major trends. Let's look at color trends. So every year Pantone brings out color of the year. This year, it came out in December, they brought out 2 colors, Illuminating, which is this bright, cheery yellow, and then Ultimate Gray. And I love the quote over here about gray being dependable and yellow is hope and optimism. And then it's like gray clouds dispersing to see sunshine. They come up with a color each year, and it's basically, it's sort of decided on by a group of color experts, and they try to come up with a color or colors that represent our society as a whole. And I think this one, they've kind of nailed it, really. Another thing that Pantone does is they go to all the fashion shows in New York. And even though, what were fashion shows now are just collections that are generally photographed and put up, there's still a few socially distanced fashion shows, but very, very few. So they take all of the photos from all the collections, and from that, they pull out the colors that are most used. So these are the colors for spring, summer. So starting at the top here, we have this beautiful rich blue. Yellow, I'm going to show you more yellow because yellow is becoming more and more important. This sort of autumnal rusty color is around a lot. Then we've got these sort of softer shades here. Mint green, both of these greens, that's also important. This lovely amethyst, and then the raspberry sorbet. So it's kind of a bright, cheery kind of palette. The other thing Pantone does is, they're saying here that the colors are combine a level of comfort and relaxation, and then sparks of energy to lift our moods. And I think they're kind of fun and bright. As well as bringing those, they bring these core colors. So I think of these as, you know, these are the pants you wear with the bright color tops. So these are the main colors to think about. For a long time now, it's been over in this area with blacks and grays and things. And now we're sort of moving more into these sort of tones where it's camels and creamy colors, which are becoming as important, if not replacing, the black and gray as being sort of our basic wardrobe builders. So here's some more color mood boards that I pulled because I think some of them are really interesting and important. But here, this yellow thing is great. I read a blog the other day that basically said, if there's one color you want to wear to make it look like you're wearing expensive clothing this season, it's this color. So it looks all very fresh and new. Mint, I mentioned before, is really important. The pastels, these peaches and pinks and pale blues. And then there's this whole sort of beachy story. I think of it as Southern California and all these lovely rich aquas. It's a little bit of a 50s surfy vibe. That's also a big trend that we're seeing too. As I mentioned before, we're moving into these sort of natural shades. And one of the most important colors you're going to see is this sort of sage greenish color over here. So you're sort of moving from the creamy whites into sort of natural rocky shades and then into sage. So that is a really beautiful and important palette too. Okay, so at Mode at Rowan every season, they pull together a color palette and work just within that palette. And this season, you can see they've gone in for the, very much like the slide I just showed you, the very strong white, and white was something we saw a lot of on the runway, soft creams, then into these sagey greens, into sort of brighter greens, and then this sort of taupey color. You can see that there. So they've very much picked up on that palette, and then just this touch of blue to sort of offset it, and our bluey white down there. So I like that they do this palette because it makes it easier to choose from, and it just sort of looks better, and they've got a real point of view, which I think is really lovely. So here you can see that palette in action, showing the white and playing it off these sort of sagey green shades. And I really love this piece on the left, you know, where you are holding, you know, two colors together and creating this ombre effect. All right, let's look at some of the knit trends that we saw. Firstly, red. I was surprised to see, you know, so much red, even though it didn't make the top 10 colors, but it looks really fresh, I think, all of a sudden. And I particularly like that Fair Isle on the right. I think that's a great use of red and pink tones, some peach in there as well. And at Rowan, in our magazine, we have this lovely story called Nostalgia, and it's got a very 50s vibe, and here you can see this beautiful red showing up in that story as well. A lot of this sort of blue and green sort of thing happening, and I always like this for inspiration because you could take any cardigan pattern and just split it in half and do two colors, or the same as taking any cardigan pattern and adding, you know, stripes like this. But it's an interesting use of blue and green again. And it has a little bit of a preppy vibe to it, which is also something that we're seeing more and more of. And you can see that in the clothes that they're wearing as well. I mentioned yellow and how important that is. So here's some of that out there. This trend in the center of combining knits and fabric is something we've been seeing for a few seasons. And I've just been looking at all the fall winter shows and collections. And that's something that's happening more and more. And here at Rowan, the yellow trend showed up on the left here. This is in the main magazine, and this very cute little, again, nostalgic cardigan that's got a little 50s vibe. And then on the right, we've got our bright colors, a collection of super brights, and that yellow is just really fun and bright and brilliant. A lot of people are afraid of yellow, and my belief is that if you're afraid of yellow, you haven't found the right yellow yet, because there is a right yellow for everyone, for everyone's skin tone. So it's just a matter of, finding it, and then, having some fun with it. As I mentioned, white was really, really important. A lot of white, all different kinds of pieces. And so here in our Brights collection, we've got this lovely white Trinity stitch cardigan and a really cute little white, wear everywhere tank top. Also at Mode at Rowan, I love the stitch in this beautiful sweater. It's like just a really nice texture, really relaxed shape. And then also at Mode, these cute white dresses, which are really fun and really nice to wear. And there's definitely a lot more sort of knitted dresses happening as well. And so this is available in 2 lengths. It's nice and ribbed and very flattering. And this is my favorite, this lovely big loose white cardigan that the sleeves start, basically at your elbows. So it's got a lot of drape, and that's knit actually with some light 4-ply and Kids Silk haze held together. And you can see that haze that's on the outside of the garment. But again, white is really, really important. And oh, this is another great piece too. This lovely white long jacket. It's in Kids Silk haze, so it's like a chevron lace pattern, and then underneath it is a vest tank top in Summer Light DK. That layering of knits is something that we saw a lot last season, and it continues on. Now, loungewear is really a big thing that's come out of the pandemic. People dressing for comfort at home, and knits are particularly important in terms of that. Now, for the fall, Women's Wear Daily, which is the biggest, I guess it's the trade publication for the fashion industry, they're saying the most important thing in fall, winter is knits. And it's because we want this sort of comfort, So it's really interesting to see how designers have approached creating these sort of comfort clothes. So we saw in last fall lots of knitted pants and long skirts and dresses and this sort of head to toe knitwear trend, and it still continues on. So these are just 3 examples that I found in spring summer collections with these matching sets, which are kind of interesting. I love this guy's piece in the middle here with the matching the shorts with the matching tank top and his matching jacket. And here's some more. These are pieces that are available to buy at the moment. This whole sort of matching shorts and tops. I love this piece here in the middle where you've got the tank top and the cardi, so it's like a very modern twin set. It's a little bit lingerie, a little bit fun, and like a lot comfortable. And here's some more sort of dressy versions of these like lovely knits. You can see how, they just flow nicely, very, very comfy. This lingerie look we've got here in the center is something that there's a lot of around too. Excuse me. At Mode at Rowan, they took that same trend and did it with this lovely wrap cardi and a pair of shorts. And they're both in cotton cashmere and that sort of olivey, sagey green color. Knit pants were definitely a thing. This is a women's wear again from October last year. And you'll probably remember that in the last season at Rowan, we did white rib knit pants like this. So it was really interesting when they showed up in someone's collection for spring, summer. Bright stripes are definitely a thing. And just this punchy bright colors as well that we saw in the Pantone color trend thing. And at Rowan, This is part of our bright story. So these really bright stripes, and then the same version of the same sweater, just in a solid color. And there's that blue that we saw at Pantone as well. Sweater vests, we started to see those last season, and they're just blowing up. They're like everywhere. And in autumn, winter, there's a lot of those out there as well. So there's all different kinds of pieces. A lot of them are very relaxed, like these first two. You know, they're sort of like you pop them on over, usually over a shirt, or obviously you can wear it as a tank top here. The one on the right, I really thought this stitch was really nice. I like to think of these as a great transition from shawls into sweaters, because you can make it so it doesn't have to fit. You can try out any stitch patterns and colors and things that you like, and you don't have to make sleeves, which to me is the big plus. I'm not a sleeve lover to knit. Here's some more versions. You know, they range from sort of more fitted, again, through more loose pieces like this lovely brioche here, or fisherman's rib, sorry. Here's some more. On the right, I thought that was an interesting one. It's a very sporty look. Note those sort of wider shoulders and sleeve caps there. And then a more traditional one on this guy on the left. And here's another one, like a little cropped vest with the wrong side of ferrule being made the feature. At Rowan, in our bright story, we did two different vests. The one on the right in two colors, which I think is really cute, and it's adorable over that really pretty, I can't think what you call that now, but that really very pretty feminine top. And then here we have a plain orange one over a white shirt, which seems to be how most people are wearing them. And in our men's collection that Martin did, it's called Union. He put in this really lovely vest too, which I think is really, really nice. And obviously it could be worn, you know, by men or women. And we have another vest in, this is in the Rowan magazine in our Cotton Classics story. And I believe this one's by Martin as well. But those cables are really pretty, and they're really offset by this lovely sort of pattern stitch here. But see, again, you've got this shaped shoulder, you know, which is really nice. More of that sort of sporty look here. I grew up with cricket, and these kind of remind me of, you know, kind of grungy cricket sweaters, which I think is kind of fun. And here it is, the same trend being sort of taken and turned into this beautiful dress. We saw some intarsia. I really thought this was really cute. This was at Coach. Oh, no, the one on the right is Coach, sorry. And this, I forget where it was now. But here, this lovely little clamshell with the little pearl in it. They're sort of pretty intarsia pieces, which we sort of haven't really seen for a long time. But as well as that, there were all these sort of bright and cheery pieces that are very colorful. These big florals, we've been seeing that for a few seasons now too. And at Rowan, we, Martin Story designed both of these. We had this beautiful little cardigan in Moordale with these lovely little bird houses and birds, which is really sweet. And then my favorite is the bulldog sweater. It's called Bark, which I think is wonderful. But I think that's a really cool piece. Okay, some more color work from the runway. The one on the left I thought was rather clever. This is from Christian Dior. So you can see they've taken the C and the D and turned it into an argyle, which I think is really interesting. And then sort of like a swirly print there on the right. And at Rowan, what we've got here is this lovely color work sweater. It kind of reminds me of sort of the arts and crafts movement. It's in this lovely, you know, beautiful rich blue played against that really lovely green, and they're fish. So this one is called Shoal. But I think it's just a great pattern, really, really nice. Notice the guy on the left, he's wearing the Pantone colors of the year. He's got that lovely grey and then tipped off with yellow. A little more colour work. This is from our nostalgia story. This cardigan is by Kaif, and you know, I think I love the retro colours he's chosen, and obviously a really pretty design. And then I'm not sure who designed that cardigan in the centre, but you know, it's using those bright colours that we saw earlier, you know, and that rich blue that's really important right now. Back to the runway, more colour work. Quite a bit of this open raglan and then into the neck look going on as well. At Rowan, a little more colour work. This is from our nostalgia story. This lovely, lovely cardigan, and then this really cute little 3/4 sleeve pullover. Simple colour work, but beautiful, rich colours. And I don't know where they found these hydrangeas, but they're quite incredible. A little bit more colour work. This piece on the left is from Kaif. These big dots, which are, you know, very obviously 50s inspired. And these two pieces are from Ani and Carlos. And the one on the right here is the one that's trending on Ravelry more than any others, which it's just lovely. It's almost like a knitted in corsage, or a symbol of a corsage. Back to the fashion trends. These are also very retro. This sort of remind me of that sort of 80s sort of Coogee sweaters that came out of Australia. Some more here at Coach on the right. They had some obsession with there's a lot of stuff that they did was related to travel. I mean, not air travel, space travel, which was interesting. On the left, we've got these really big florals in that lovely, you know, sort of mustardy yellow color. This was unusual to see. This is cross stitch on knitting. So on the right, the men's in a much finer gauge is at Christian Dior. You can see that CD is in there again. And then on the left, this is from Tory Burch. And it kind of is very folky to me, but I really thought it was really interesting and really nice. A fun project to do. Pulling from that embroidery on knitting trend, we have this cardigan here at Rowan, and this is like just embroidered on after the cardigan's finished on both sleeves. I think it's just a very pretty addition. A little more embroidery on knits, again from the collections, not from Rowan. We talked about the 50s is what we sort of ran with at Rowan, but there's also a big 80s story going on. We've been seeing that for a little while, but this really showed it out this season, I thought. And notice that yellow again, which again is super important, yeah. Easy sweaters. We have loads of easy sweaters in our mode collections. And it's good when these come into fashion because it sort of makes people think about, well, I could actually knit that rather than spend $400 on it. Polo necks are having a moment. So you expect to see more of those. And again, on the right here, this is all in one piece, but it's that whole concept of the shorts and the tops and the comfort clothing. And then on the left, you've got the top and the skirt, you know, again, following the same trend. Interestingly, there were these great counterpanes on the left from Rebecca Taylor. And this is all like knit. And then on the right, we've got this lovely skirt that's crochet. And interestingly, one of the collections for autumn winter actually used counterpanes, like a huge, beautiful counterpane yellow blanket as their backdrop for their entire collection, which was really stunning. Okay, next. Oh, lingerie looks that I talked about before. That's definitely a trend. And then socks. A lot of socks with these are all obviously at Coach, but the whole idea of wearing socks with basically slippers. This one's, it's interesting. It's like whoever made these did not know how to knit a sock. So they're basically tubes that are sewn up. But I'm sure when they actually go to production, it won't be quite like that. A few beanies and things which were around, but I thought these were the standout. These are from Tom Brown, and they're structured hats that then have a knit covering over them. And I thought, what a cool idea. If you've got an old sweater you want to recycle, it's a really cool thing to do with it. And someone's even taken this further for autumn, winter. So you'll see more of that next season coming up. It's really an interesting idea. So this is what I was talking about before, wearing socks with your slippers. So it's slippers all day, every day. There were some knit bags. I love these really big pieces. I think they're really fun. And then at Rowan, Lisa Richardson designed this lovely lace bag, which I think is really pretty. I like the shape and the drape of that one. There was a lot of crochet on in the collections. So I'll go through that with you because that was really important. And while we didn't do crochet this season at Rowan, we have a lot of great crochet patterns that are somewhat timeless, and you could be inspired by these to use those. So a lot of white, but what I found really interesting was this is the whole filet crochet look, which is interesting to see as a fashion item. Clearly recycled. This looks here like a part of some sort of a doily that's sewn onto fabric. This is probably machine-made filet, but it just follows that trend really wonderfully. And then here we've got the ultimate in upcycling. This looks like it's a, what do you call, placemat. So the front and the back are then joined with like crocheted lacing, and then all these doilies are sewn together and laced with lacing, so more crocheted together to create the skirt. And if you can see over here, there's a little bit of embroidery on top. So it's a really wonderful sort of upcycling project, and really interesting that that was something that we saw, you know, in a collection. More mesh. This is all from Dion Lee, but it was clearly a really important trend for him as well. Now, this is a kind of mesh in that it's like it's a granny square stitch, I guess. But it is open like a mesh. And it's this whole top and pants thing for men. Again, another version of that. And then I thought this was interesting to have this crochet with this embroidery over the top in these, you know, big tropical flowers. The lingerie look hit the crochet world as well. Really pretty dresses. There's a lot of crochet dresses. And I love seeing this vest in the granny square. And I think with those big sleeves and all the white, I think it looks really fresh and modern. Crochet bikinis were definitely around, crochet cover-ups, and then we've got a little more mesh over there on the right. And crochet dresses were definitely a thing. Simple crochet sweaters. I love the stripes in this. I think the colors have got a very retro feel. And then there was a lot of men's crochet, like surprisingly. So this vest with sort of a diagonal stitch, this sweater here, and then over here with, you know, this white with these sort of colors showing up in these open weave sections. These I thought were really outstanding crochet. So this is broomstick crochet, and then it's sewn actually onto a piece of fabric to create the garment. Here, these lovely motifs, and there's all these beads. And then this is like, here's a shoulder bar, and then it's a knit sleeve, and then it's knit edges all the way around. And then this space is filled with this beautiful Irish crochet. I thought that was just quite stunning. In terms of accessories, these sort of bucket hats. So this one was at Fendi. They managed to put their name in there. I'm not sure what this is, but same sort of look. And then over on the right here, I think this was at Anna Sui. So this is like taking the beer can hat and modernizing it, finding like a more graphically pleasing can, I guess. So I thought that was really interesting. But again, that bucket shape is important. And then here we've got this lovely little neck piece over this, you know, filmy cotton dress. And to me, that's sort of a little like the homesteading and farmhouse trend, cottage style that we're seeing very much in the homewares arena. Crochet bags, definitely a thing. So over here, you know, really tight crochet in like a The words escape me what that is. And then I love this. Someone had a really interesting time crocheting all these curlicues, and then just a crochet backpack. And something that I saw a lot of that was really interesting is macrame. Even macrame shoes over here. I love this belt, really cute earrings, you know, another bag. So that's definitely around, and I'm seeing more and more sort of books being published on macrame, and some yarn companies are actually doing macrame projects and things. So that's definitely another trend. Now, patchwork is a huge trend, and I'm telling you about this because some of you may be quilters, but this was really, really huge. So here we go. It's like recycling and upcycling these wonderful quilts. Here's some more. And then just, you know, patchwork. This is very much Annie Hall, the kind of look. The New York Times actually ran a whole article on this patchwork trend, which was also interesting. And that's what I have. So I haven't been checking the chat because I can't do that and this at the same time. So I'm just wondering if there's any.
So there's one question.
Yeah.
What did you call the koji sweaters popular in Australia?
Oh,
kind of like sand art or terrariums.
It is like, yeah, sand art, yes. I want to say kuji. I'm just putting it in the chat, and I know that's not right because Coogee is actually a beach, and I know that the names are very similar, so I'm going to just quickly look it up for you. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to put it in the chat. They're sort of having a bit of a renaissance, I guess, at the moment. Okay, do we have any other questions?
No other questions.
Okay, cool. Great. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It was really lovely to be here. I hope that you are inspired to try some new colors, throw a bit of yellow on, and get some knitting going. So thank you very much, Kathy, for inviting me.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you. Thank you, Trisha.
Okay. All right. Ida, I expect to see you in yellow.
You know, I don't know. I was just commenting that yellow is always a color I had a hard time wearing. And it was so funny when Trisha kind of made that comment.
You need to go into the yarn store and you need to hold all of those different yellows against your skin in front of a mirror and you'll find one. And you don't have to do a whole garment in it too. Like, it's lovely to just tip, you know, the gray.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I did an interview with Jen Geigley last week, and she loves yellow and gray more than everything. Like, in her house, she has like a yellow fireplace, a vintage yellow fireplace. Yellow and gray. And she does those two colors a lot in her designs. And there's actually a new collection out from her that you can see called Modern Women's Knits. And then you'll find a lot of yellow and gray in there.
You know, I remember as a kid, my mom dressed me in gray and pink.
Yes.
One year for Easter. And that was just, you know, she was very creative. But you know, that's those two also look good together. I like the yellow and gray together, and you're absolutely right. It's just going in there, bugging Kathy and figuring out what yellow would look nice and doing something small, I guess, to start out in it, like a cowl or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. Yeah. Good point. Good point. It's good seeing you, Trisha. I don't know if you remember me. I did a tour with you to Canada a couple of years ago.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
time. I know you don't, but you just made such an impression on me and the company you were with then. And it's just so, I was just so surprised to see you, and you're looking good. It's good to see you.
You too. That was a
So
fun.
if you ever, I was just gonna say, if you ever come to the store,
Mhm.
I know you would have a fabulous time, and I would love to really see you.
Okay. Let's hope that happens soon.
Yes. Take care.
You too.
So Michael, I'm drawing a blank. What yarn is in the Brights collection?
In the Essential Summer Brights.
Yes.
So there's cotton glacé. There is kid silk haze.
Yeah.
There's some hand knit cotton. I believe there's fine lace.
Yeah, I think you've got it all. Yep. There's some really fun pieces in here. And there's quite a few as well where kid silk haze is held with one of the cottons. And it just, you can do fun things with color like that. You get that lovely sort of soft fabric. It's really fun. Anyway, it's a great book. That's what it looks like.
Okay, anything else from anyone? All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon wherever you are. And thank goodness spring is here and we can all do some bright knitting.
Yes. Kathy, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ida.
And Trisha, thank you. And it's good seeing you. You guys have a good day also.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.